Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Money Rebel podcast. This is your host, Haley David, and today's episode is going to be different from the previous episodes that I've done. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I'm so excited to finally be doing it. So I was going to wait a couple weeks before dropping this new episode. However, the moment of inspiration hit this morning, and I was like, okay, I have so many thoughts on this piece of content that I saw that sparked inspiration for this topic that I am so passionate about in business that I was like, okay, today is the perfect day to record the very first segment of the Money Rebel Hotline. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, when I listened to the radio as a kid in the car, when I was with my mom driving somewhere, I always loved the radio shows that did hotlines where listeners can call in, ask their question. There's one, I think it's like Delilah, and I loved hearing her read the questions that her listeners would submit about dating, love life, all of the things. And I just loved hearing her answer them, and it was just really fun to listen to. And so I really love that nostalgic, vintage throwback vibes. And as you guys know, I'm all about making business fun, enjoyable, simple, and effective. And so I was like, the Money Rebel Hotline is the perfect way to do that for you. So I'm so excited. Once a month, I'm going to be doing an episode for the Money Rebel Hotline. So that means you guys can submit your questions, and I'll select a few to answer for each of the Money Rebel Hotline episodes. You can look forward to them at least once a month. I might do an occasional bonus one here or there, but I'm just so excited to give you guys an opportunity to submit your questions, have them answered in as close to real time as possible, and to just kind of get more insight into where you're at in your business, how you're feeling about the business environment right now. And I just really wanted to bring a fun and laid back and just like nostalgic vibe to the show. So welcome to the Money Rebel Hotline episode number 1. I'm so excited to do this. I also just want to share that this is a little bit different of a podcast style than I'm used to recording. Usually I try to have these episodes be very actionable to give you guys powerful perspective shifts around certain topics in business, as well as boosting your skill level as business owners in under 30 minutes. I really try to do that for the podcast. And in order to do that, most of the episodes do have very detailed notes, so that way I can stay on topic. I have ADHD. I've had it since I was like 6 years old. And so if you have ADHD, you know how easy it is to go off on a squirrel train of thought. So today will be very limited show notes. So I'm going to do my absolute best to stay on topic, but this is just me here, real and raw and vulnerable, and doing something a little bit different in real time, which can just be difficult to do sometimes as an entrepreneur. So send me a DM on Instagram if you like this format, if you liked the more laid back, conversational approach to these episodes. This really would be quite similar to how it would be to have a conversation with me in real life. So yeah, just a little BFF hotline session. And this session is also powered by my second cup of coffee and a little bit of sleep deprivation. My toddler, she's going to be 16 months old. She woke up at 4:30. And I don't know if other moms out there also struggle with this, or just anyone in general, right? If you wake up at 4:30 or 5, it's like, oh, do I get up for the day? Do I go back to sleep? And if I go back to sleep, am I going to be even more tired because I'm only going to get 2 or 3 more hours of sleep? The mental gymnastics we play, right? Of do we go back to sleep or not? That is what I did this morning. And you guys, I chose to stay up. So it is currently 11:15 a.m. right now in Edinburgh, Scotland. And yeah, I've been up since 4:30 and we're on our second cup of coffee. And I'm currently recording this while my baby naps. So let's get to it. As I mentioned, this episode was spur of the moment today because I didn't plan on releasing the hotline episode so soon. Like I said, this has been in the works for months, the Money Rebel Hotline segments. But today I saw something online a video I watched on social media that instantly I was like, oh my God, I have to talk about this on the podcast because it's something that I see so often. So before we dive into the Q&A, I really want to talk about this because it's something I see so often. So the video that I saw was someone who I absolutely respect and think she is brilliant. However, she was saying something that I do not share the same perspective with, which is okay. In response to a question she was asked about lowering prices, her response was, it's not about the price. So often if something isn't selling, the first thing our brain goes to is pricing. And my first thought on this is oftentimes when something isn't selling or, clients aren't hiring you or following up with the proposal or estimates that you sent out, whatever it is, right? If your sales aren't going the way you think they should, as a business owner, oftentimes the first thing you do go to is pricing. So I do agree when she said, if something isn't selling, the first thing our brain goes to is pricing. However, she was saying it's not about the price. I'm saying that's the whole point, is that I do agree that if something isn't selling, the first thing that most business owners' brain goes to is the pricing. So pricing is a very nuanced thing, and every single business owner and business should have their own pricing strategy. And so when she says it's not about the price, so often if something isn't selling, the first thing our brain goes to is pricing. That is where I would respectfully disagree. I've seen people share this similar perspective as this example that I've given. And here's the thing. If you have strategically priced your services and offers, then when something isn't selling, it's not going to be your first instinct to lower your prices. I do agree with her that so often business owners, when something isn't selling, they do go to look at their pricing. But here's the thing. You wouldn't be doing that if you strategically priced your services and offers. Okay. So that's the caveat here. If you had strategically priced your services and offers, yes, you should stop playing mental gymnastics with your pricing. And what do I mean when I say having a strategic pricing strategy? I mean knowing exactly why you've priced your services or offers the way that you have, knowing your competitive landscape, meaning you've done a competitive analysis, and knowing that your prices reflect the quality, expertise, and uniqueness of your business. And you also have a system in place for how you're being paid, how you're sending out invoices, how people are purchasing the courses, all that stuff. Where I disagree with what she said is that more often than not, I see most business owners don't have a pricing strategy. They're not actually confident in their pricing, and they're not sure even how to strategically price their services and offers. And so when a business owner hears that message of if something's not selling, it's not about your prices, that can actually be really unhelpful. A more helpful message would be if you're having reservations about your pricing, it's time and worth it to get curious and ask yourself, how intentional were you with your pricing? If your pricing strategy is there, then it's likely not about the pricing, and it's time to look at other reasons why it might not be selling. That is a more helpful approach to be sharing when it comes to pricing, because if you do not have a pricing strategy, it very well could be that the price is contributing to the person not buying. So before we dive into the Q&A, I want to talk about how not having a pricing strategy or strategically pricing your offers and services, how that impacts sales, right? Because that's really what we're talking about here. If you're not getting the sales you want to, right? That's kind of like the symptom you're experiencing. If you're not getting the sales that you want to, and the first thing that your brain goes to is it my pricing? If you have taken time to intentionally price your services and offers with competitive analysis and making sure it reflects the positioning that you want to, you can probably assume, again, you want to make evidence-based decisions using data. But if you have done that, you can probably assume that it might not be the price that is impacting your sales. So some of the ways not having intentional pricing can impact your sales and actually does make your sales about your pricing is because your pricing impacts so much more in your business than you might realize. And you can only say that your pricing isn't affecting your sales when you have taken the time to create intentional and strategic pricing for your business. The reason this grinds my gears is because I know pricing is a confusing topic for most people. And as she said, the one thing that I agree with is that yes, when something isn't selling, a lot of people do go straight to their pricing. And that's for a reason. If you haven't taken the time to intentionally price your services and offers, you've not done competitive analysis of your industry to know what's even going on there, and your prices aren't strategically reflecting your unique business model, then yes, there probably is a reason your brain is going straight to your pricing when your sales aren't where you want them to be. So that's why it grinds my gears, because pricing is such a big thing. And a lot of business owners don't fully understand the impact that it has in their business. Your pricing impacts so much more than just your bottom line revenue, your sales, your profit. It's not just about the actual dollar amount that you're making. It's so much more than that. Your pricing influences your positioning in the market. It also influences your marketing, your branding, your sales, customer trust, customer retention, your confidence. I could keep going on and on. If you're interested in learning more about the bigger role that pricing plays in your business, go to the link in the show notes. I have a free pricing training that teaches you how to make pricing your secret weapon by showing you all of the different areas in your business that pricing does impact. Because once you know the areas that it impacts and influences, you can take control and be in the driver's seat of your business and make sure that your pricing is helping your business instead of hurting it. If you have strategically priced your services and offers, it's time to get curious and look at other data to see why it's not selling. The first thing you go to should not be your pricing. It might be something you look at, but 100%, it shouldn't be the first thing that you're jumping to. That's only for people who have strategically priced their services, okay? If you're not in that category, then your pricing should actually be one of the first things that you look at. So I want to give an example because I know it can be helpful to see this in action. So for example, if you're a local photographer and you are feeling frustrated because your sales aren't where you thought they would be, and you've not booked as many photo shoots as you thought you would, and you don't have intentional pricing, this would actually be the time where I would recommend the first thing that you do is nail down your pricing. Because let's say in the example of this photographer, let's say that the process that she used when pricing her family photo shoot session, let's say it's 1 hour, the thought process behind that was, okay, I want to charge $200 an hour because I know I'll probably have 2 to 3 hours in post editing. So that's the minimum I want to make is $200 for that hour family photo session. Okay. If that is the only thought process that went into her pricing, it is likely that her pricing is hurting her sales because it's affecting her positioning in the marketplace. And positioning means it's the way that consumers view your business. So here's the thing. If this photographer, she knows she's really good at what she does. However, if she's charging $200 for her 1 hour family sessions, but doesn't know what her competitors are charging, she's not intentionally positioning herself in the market the way she might want to be or thinks she is. And to be more specific with that, if let's say competitor A charges $500 for that 1 hour session and competitor B is charging $400, some of you might be thinking, oh, well, obviously more people will want to work with her because she's cheaper. But you need to remember that money isn't the only driving factor when people are making a purchasing decision. They need to believe that you are going to deliver the thing that they want. Now, if this girl in her marketing say that she's a high-end, luxury, quality, whatever, 10 years experience photographer, but people go to her site and they see that she only charges $200 a session, the first thing they think of is, okay, why is it so much cheaper than everyone else who's kind of similar to her experience and her quality? Something must be off, right? And so they end up maybe paying company B or company A because they're more confident that that person is going to deliver. And if they see these other companies that have, let's say, 10 years of experience, very similar to you, right? Same experience, very similar quality, and your ideal client lands on your website, they're going to feel really confused because if you're telling them that it's high quality, but the price point is not aligning with the other people in your industry at your actual direct competition, it's going to create confusion with your buyer, which is the last thing you want to do when someone is making a purchasing decision in the sales process. All of this comes down to positioning, right? Your price is a positioning tool. It allows you to attract and repel buyers and people. When you say it's not about the pricing, so why is that the first thing your brain goes to? Actually, in this example, it probably is because your prices are a positioning tool. So if you don't have an intentional pricing strategy, your positioning directly impacts your sales and your pricing directly impacts both of those. So the Q&A is coming up soon. I just wanted to go on this mini rant because I see so many people like the photographer I use in this example and so many badass business owners who are freaking great at what they do. And because they don't take the time to actually improve their skill level around pricing, they're not making the sales that they should be. And yes, there is a lot more that goes into sales as well, but your pricing is the foundation underneath all of it. It does not matter what you do or how great your Instagram graphics are or how pretty your website is if your pricing is not aligned and it is not intentional. It is not helping your business. Because here's the thing, your pricing is either hurting or helping your business. And that is why it is so important to really take your pricing seriously and just take the time to get your pricing nailed down. And the reason why this sparked this mini rant that I wanted to go on is because I've been a business owner, it'll be 10 years in May, since I started my first business, which was a local cleaning company that I scaled to multiple locations. And one of the things that allowed me to do that was I had my pricing strategy nailed down. There was a learning curve. I'm not saying when I first started that I didn't struggle with pricing, because I did. That's the thing. A lot of business owners, when you start your business, there's not a lot of helpful, concrete information out there about pricing. It's all very subjective, which sometimes leaves you feeling even more confused. So here's the thing. For most of you listening to this, it's not your fault that you don't have an intentional pricing strategy, because this might be the first time anyone's ever told you that you need one. And that's exactly why I'm here. And so as I was saying, just over the years with my different experience, different business that I've started in these past almost 10 years, the common theme between business owners that I've talked to, whether they're e-commerce or brick and mortar, online, service providers, whatever it is, the common theme that people have come to me with questions for is pricing. I've talked to 7-figure CEOs who still waver about pricing, and I've talked to people just starting out. That is a common denominator between so many business owners, is pricing confusion. And it just blows my mind because there is a simple fix. I'm not saying pricing isn't confusing, but there really is a simple solution. And so when I hear, that phrase of it's not about pricing, but it's the thing that most people's brain goes to when they're not selling, the reason that grinds my gears is because if every time you go to sell an offer or launch an offer, or you didn't hit the sales numbers you wanted for the month, your brain goes and does mental gymnastics about pricing. It doesn't have to be like that. And the reality is that once you know how to intentionally price your services and offers, you don't do that anymore. You do not have to spend the mental energy and the time going back and forth about your prices. And some of you listening to this might be thinking, yeah, that sounds too good to be true, but that actually is the reality. And it's a vital part of your business foundation. And I've been using my pricing formula for years with private clients. When I was only doing consulting before I started Money Rebel, I've had my pricing formula for years, and it's something that I was just doing one-on-one with people. And I figured out a way to turn my framework into an actual template. And it's not just a template that you input your expenses and it calculates your rate based on charging 3 times as much as your expenses. It's not like that at all. It's my formula into a done for you template. You input information about your business and you input your competitive research, and it tells you what to charge based on that. It's an amazing tool. And I am not saying that just because I created it. It includes all of the key aspects of your business that actually need to be taken into consideration when you price. It really does make me sad, and just it makes me so passionate about getting this template out into the world, because it doesn't have to be like that. And I really just know that when someone buys the Nail Your Pricing template that I created, I can confidently say that the mental gymnastics will be over. They will have a tool that they can use over and over and over again in their business. Anytime they create a new offer, a new service, a new business, or even just monthly to review what's happening in the business world, because things change all the time. This is a powerful tool that will help them make evidence-based, data-backed decisions about their pricing. And I know that when someone follows a Nail Your Pricing template step by step and goes through the workshop, it will have a massive ripple effect in every other area of their business, because their pricing will be positioning them the way they want to. It'll be attracting the right type of people and repelling the ones that aren't a good fit for their services or offers. It'll help them build trust with potential buyers. And like I said, it'll just truly impact so much. Shameless plug. If you want an amazing tool to help you nail down your pricing, head to the link in the show notes or go to moneyrebelco.com/nailyourpricing-template to check out the Nail Your Pricing template. It tells you exactly what's included. You get the template, you get the workshop. The template actually calculates your pricing for you. It's super cool. And then the workshop teaches you my framework and helps you apply the information to your business in a step-by-step way. It's a really amazing product, and I'm so proud of it. There's a money-back guarantee. So if you go through the Nail Your Pricing template, every lesson, every single step, and you're still feeling really confused about your pricing and you do not have a pricing nailed down, there's a 100% money-back guarantee. That is how confident I am in this template. If you want to do it yourself, that is totally fine. I'm just on a mission to empower business owners to take their pricing seriously, whether that's by buying my template or going solo. So if you prefer to do this yourself, the biggest tip I can tell you is to do a competitive analysis of your industry. Know who your direct competitors are and educate yourself on what is happening in your industry, your area if you're a local service provider, if you're an online entrepreneur. Again, what is happening in your industry with your direct competitors? That is the biggest first step. The other advice I can give you is to make sure that you're not only using outside influences to set your prices, that your prices reflect your experience, your quality, your expertise, the uniqueness of your business, and that you are basing your pricing from these key aspects of your business and your competitive landscape. And when you do that, your rates should not be identical to competitor A, B, and C. They should reflect your unique things. That is the biggest advice I can give you. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. I really just am on a mission to show people how powerful pricing can be. And once you get the pricing foundation laid in your business is when you can start to really see the impacts of testing different marketing and sales strategies. And a perspective shift for you is, at the end of the day, if you're spending so much time, energy, and maybe money into ads, your website, creating social media content, oh my gosh, we know how much time it takes to market and sell our services and our offers. You're doing all of that stuff. You don't want to be dropping the ball when it comes to the price, because think about it from your perspective as a consumer. When you go to buy something, the price point is normally and usually a factor in deciding to purchase. I'm not saying you're only purchasing because it's $20 or $500. I'm saying it's something that you use to help you make your decision. And I know you might see things where it's like, oh, I don't even look at the price tag when I buy it, whatever. That's because that brand has already established trust and confidence. You already know so much about that brand. That's why. Because hint, hint, you don't care about the price on that tag because they've positioned themselves in a way that makes sense. So the price actually did still influence you to buy because it positioned them in the marketplace. So with that outlier exception, pricing is a huge decision-making factor when someone decides to hire you or buy your course or whatever it is that you sell. It's one of the biggest factors they use to help make their decision. And I'm not even saying they're bargain hunting. This goes for luxury services too. The price point needs to align with the perception that they have of your brand, the quality they think you're going to deliver, and how likely you are to deliver the value that they're going to be paying for. That price is exactly what they'll use to help them make that decision. So if you're spending all of this time getting people to your landing pages or to your podcast or to your website, or the money you're spending in ads to get people to the checkout page, why are you dropping the ball when it comes to the price? In the final stage of their decision-making process, in the buyer's journey, so many business owners drop the ball with the pricing. And that's exactly why I wanted to share this mini rant, because when your prices aren't intentional, it impacts the final stage in the buyer's journey. It impacts your sales directly when they're making that final decision to hire you or purchase your product or offer. And that's exactly why your pricing is so important. Because when you have your pricing nailed down, you know that it's supporting their decision to say yes and to hire you. So that's all I have to say about that right now. I really hope that there was some takeaways from this. You learned something. Again, DM me. This is an interactive podcast. I want to hear from you guys. You can DM me, email me, let me know your thoughts on this. If you agree, disagree, what you took away from it. And now I'm going to do some Q&A. The first question I'm going to answer: when I'm on a discovery call with a potential client, I don't know how to respond when they say my prices are too high. What should I say? How do I respond without feeling pressured to lower my prices? The first thing I want to say to this is that it's totally normal to be on a discovery call or a sales call with a potential client, or talking to someone in your DMs and they say something along the lines of, oh, your prices are out of my budget, or higher than company A, or higher than I thought. That is a totally normal thing to happen in business. And I can understand why it throws this person off and it makes them wonder how to respond when a potential client says that. So first things first, you heard me just talk about purchasing decisions, right? And that pricing plays a huge role in that customer's ability to decide to hire you or purchase whatever it is you're selling. And when a potential customer says this to you, it's actually an opportunity for you to educate them on why your rates are what they are. And I'm not saying you need to justify anything. I'm saying educate from an empowered place. There was a time when I was talking to an engineer who, he called me and inquired about services and said to me, he basically said, how can you charge that much money? I've been an engineer for X amount of years and I don't even make that much. And I just said to him, it's because no one else offers what we do. No other professional cleaning company in this area offers what we do, and they don't do it as well. And I told him about our insurance policy and some of the key things that makes us different that go into our pricing. And he hired me. To the person who submitted this question, when this happens, it's so much more helpful to look at this as an opportunity to educate instead of overcoming an objection. Because even if someone says, oh, your prices are too high, sure, could that be an objection? Yes. It's still an opportunity for you to educate them. So that's what I would say. Try to shift your perspective around it and validate whatever they said to you, right? If they say, oh, it's out of my budget, I totally understand that it might be higher than you were planning. This is why our rates are what they are. Because here's the thing. When you're having conversations with potential clients, whether you're a local service provider, online service provider, or someone who sells digital products, when a potential customer or client can see that you took time to price your services and offers beyond just, I wanted to make this much, it builds trust with them. It already creates a good rapport and establishes your credibility as a business owner. And it creates that trust and confidence that ultimately they want to have with the person that they hire or the product that they buy. Imagine if someone asked you like how you priced your services and you couldn't tell them. That's not going to create trust. It's going to make you feel really disempowered, and it's going to create hesitancy from them. But if you flip that around and you're able to clearly articulate exactly why your prices are the way they are and educate them in that way, that's something that not a lot of business owners are doing. It's going to go a long way. And it's even if they don't hire you, it's still going to give them a really good perception of your brand. It is totally okay if your prices are outside of their budget. Both can exist, that it's outside of their budget and your prices are totally fine. Having a pricing strategy means when you're having sales conversations with people, if price comes up, you can confidently and clearly talk about it and give them the information they need and move past it. It doesn't have to be this big thing where you lower the price for them when they've not even asked you to, or you do mental gymnastics or emotionally go back and forth. It doesn't have to be all of that. When you have a pricing strategy, you just confidently know that your prices are what they are, and it saves you the time of doing all of that. So what I wouldn't say, if someone said this to me, I would not lower my prices. If they said, oh, your prices are too high, I wouldn't say, oh, I can lower them just for you, or there's a special promo going on, or here's a coupon code. I wouldn't. The first instinct isn't to lower the prices. If someone hasn't flat out said, can you do it for lower? Don't assume they're asking you to do it for lower. Always, always, always educate them first on your pricing strategy and then wait for them to respond. That's really it. So that's how I'll answer the first question submission. And also a new bonus that I'm dropping into the Nail Your Pricing template after the new year. So in January, I am dropping pricing scripts. And so what I mean by that is anyone who purchases a Nail Your Pricing template will automatically get access to several of these pricing scripts that they can use. Again, these pricing scripts are going to help you when you're having these sales conversations. So if someone does say this, you will know exactly what to say. I'll also have pricing scripts for how to respond to raising your price, how to respond to sales conversations in emails, or if you're over the phone or in the DMs, as well as if you need to raise your rates or that kind of stuff. So there's going to be quite a few helpful pricing scripts in the Nail Your Pricing template after the new year. So again, if you are interested at all in having me help you nail down your pricing, that is just a little cherry on top to sweeten the deal for you. So one thing I want to add here is about your sales process, directly how pricing is playing a role in that. When you're on a discovery call with someone, or you've had someone inquire to you about services, it's not always possible for them to fill out the application beforehand. Ideally, we want to direct them to that, but it's not always possible. But that should be the first step. So I would say, if you want to avoid having conversations with people who are saying these things, have something on your website that has your starting prices. Your prices need to be on your website. You will avoid a lot of these conversations if consumers can easily and readily find your pricing information. It's going to save you a lot of time and them a lot of time. And by having transparent pricing, you are going to decrease the amount of conversations you're having like this. That's the other thing I want to add to the person who submitted this question is keep that in mind. Are your prices transparent? If you're a service provider and in order to work with you, they need to fill out a consultation form or an application, on that application, you need to have a question that pre-qualifies them around pricing. And specifically, that question should be saying, our prices start at X or our X price. Are you ready to move forward at this time? Or something like that. If they say no, don't get on a call with them. Redirect them somewhere else because they're not at the right phase in the buyer's journey to actually be considered a lead that is going to likely hire you. So that's the thing I want to add is that pricing transparency decreases the amount of pricing objections and saves you a lot of time not having conversations with people who are still gathering information about pricing. You really want your prices to be transparent so that way potential customers and clients can go to your website or your landing page, whatever it is, see your prices, and then reach out to you once they have all the information and they're in the decision-making process. So that's the last thing I'll say about that. Okay, question number 2. Should I discount my one-on-one services? So This is a very good question. And my philosophy in business is I don't believe in one size fits all strategies or cookie cutter strategies. So I'm not going to be a business coach who tells you to never discount your services or that you should. My first automatic response to this would be, what are the pros and cons of discounting your services? Why are you wanting to? I would probably start with why. Why are you feeling the need to discount your services? This is a very nuanced question without a lot of context, but ideally that's where you would want to start is why are you wanting to discount your services? What are you hoping it will achieve? And start there. Because anytime I'm working with a client and they're asking me, should I do this strategy or is this the better strategy? It's really helpful to start with that, as well as discussing the pros and cons of either and making a decision from there. Because it's so much more unhelpful to be like, oh, I heard this coach say to never discount your one-on-one services, so I'm never going to do that. It's just so unhelpful to take outside advice without really considering how it applies to your unique business and your perspective and how you want your business to look, feel, operate, all of the things, right? If you're discounting your services because you think it'll help you get sales, I would get really curious about that. And you aren't going to be surprised to hear me say this, but make sure your prices are intentional. Spend some time improving your skill level around pricing and intentionally set your prices for each services or offer that you have. You're going to want to do this for everything that you sell. So I would say this depends on what are you hoping the discount will achieve. If you're just starting out and you're hoping it will help you get clients, I would say it's definitely a strategy that can be used. However, I would say if you've taken the time to intentionally price your services and offers, you shouldn't really need to discount your services even if you're just getting started, because your prices should reflect your experience and your position in the marketplace. And so if you're just getting started, your prices are going to reflect that, and likely you shouldn't need a discount because the prices are aligned with the quality and experience that you offer, especially in relation to your competitors. So I would keep that in mind. The difference I would say is look at how you're wanting to use the discount. Is it from a place of showing appreciation, really starting off a relationship with a client with a really positive client experience? Or is it the mindset of, I'm worried no one will buy at the full rate, so I need to discount? Lots to look at here. If you're listening to this and you've asked yourself very similar questions, take some time to reflect on some of the questions I've asked and my thought process around this, because ultimately there's no right or wrong thing for discounting your services. You really need to be intentional with why you're doing it. And if you're doing it because your normal price point doesn't feel sustainable to sell at, then that's probably an indicator to take the time to get your pricing squared away. If you have an intentional pricing strategy, let's say you're someone who's used the Nail Your Pricing template, you've got all of your services and offers priced using the template, you went through every step, and you're still asking, should I discount my services? Again, I would say, how does it fit into your sales goals? Is it directly tied to a sales goal or a promotion? Are you trying to promote one service over the other? Or is there some time urgency that you're wanting to create sales-wise? Then sure, offering a special discount or offer that's framed as like a new client special or December offer, it's something that you can certainly utilize. And I really try to give examples outside of the online business world, because so many weird things happen in the online business world that do not happen in the real business world. I'm not trying to insult anyone by saying that, but just take a look at some of these really big companies like Disney, Netflix, any software subscription-based platforms, streaming things, even your favorite products. A lot of them offer first-time purchase coupons or discounts, promos, incentives to get you to make a purchasing decision with them, enter into their brand world, and to try their product or service, and hopefully like what they're selling so much that you stay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, intentional discounts and coupons can be very powerful when supplemented to a marketing and sales strategy. However, will be less helpful if you're using a discount or coupon to feel a bit more comfortable about your rate, or you feel like people aren't buying at the normal rate, so use the discount for that. So they certainly can be very, very helpful when used as an addition and not the main foundation of your pricing and your promotional strategy. And so for Money Rebel, with my one-on-one coaching services and consulting, I've not often offered discounts because, again, something to take into consideration is, as a service provider, your time commitment is there to deliver the service. And so it's not been very often that I've done that. But so for my one-on-one services, I need to ask myself what I'm trying to achieve or what the outcome is that I would be hoping for by offering this, and really get curious about why you're offering this. If you're a business owner listening to this, like, oh, I just thought a discount is a nice way to create a client experience, there's so many other ways to do that. And it doesn't have to be discounting your services. You just want to be really intentional about why you're doing it. But there's loads of other ways to create a fun client experience for people. I really like to send welcome gifts. I don't even know if I've ever discounted my one-on-one coaching services, but I will send out very nice welcome packages. So if you're thinking, oh, I'll discount $100 off the services, try experimenting with just sending out a $100 gift. And I don't expect people to work with me based on the gift or discount that they get, period. If you think that those things are what's going to make someone buy, I think there's some other things for you to look at in your sales process and your pricing. Because discounts and bonuses and client gifts, all those things, they're really just little cherries on top that maybe sweeten the deal for people, but it shouldn't be the big driving factor of why they're purchasing. And big disclaimer here, I want to say, this applies to service-based businesses and digital products. If you're a physical product owner, pricing is an entirely different ballgame for you. So the people that I help at Money Rebel, and my expertise is around service-based businesses, either locally or online, and online entrepreneurs who sell digital offers. And if you have a digital product, it's a little bit different offering a discount code that might be more acceptable because, your time isn't being impacted if you sell digital products. What are you hoping the discount will achieve? Are you using it as a sales crutch, hoping that it will get you more sales? Or are you just using it to drive urgency or to get people into your world? Just start thinking about that. So I was hoping to get to one more question, but my baby is waking up from her nap. So this means that the Q&A portion of the Money Rebel Hotline is over. But as always, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know, send me a DM or an email. Let me know what you thought of this episode, if you liked the more laid back style. And if you want to know how to submit your questions to the Money Rebel Hotline, head to the link in the show notes and you'll find all the information there that you need to be able to submit your questions. And last but not least, you guys, the big takeaway here is that 2025 is coming up and I want you guys to take your pricing seriously. And I'm saying this from a place of love because I want you to succeed and I want you to have the profitable and sustainable business that you guys want and that you spend so much time and energy working towards and investing in, making that happen. And I know that if you take the time to get really intentional with your pricing, it's going to pay off more than you even realize. That's the message that I want to leave with you guys here today, is whether you use the Know Your Pricing template or you do it on your own, either way, I just want you guys to spend some time taking your pricing seriously to create an intentional pricing strategy. And if you want my help doing that, you can go to the link in the show notes to purchase the Know Your Pricing template or go to moneyrebelco.com/Know Your Pricing template. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this episode, you can help support the podcast by making sure you're subscribed, hit the 5 stars, and leave a review. Thank you so much, my Money Rebel family, for supporting the show, and tune in next week for another episode.